City Council regular meeting, June 11th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening to all and all that are listening online. This is a wonderful day today. The sun is shining. It's not too extremely warm or hot, but it's a blessed day. This evening we are coming together to do the business for the city of Newman. I hope that all heads are clear to where we can basically stay on course and do the business. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Roll call.
Councilmember McDonald?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ball?
Here.
Councilmember Tomlinson?
Here.
Mayor Graham?
Any declarations of conflicts of interest tonight? No. Ceremonial matters, none. Items from the public, non-agenda items. Anybody wishing to speak? Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, and community. Thank you, Gavin Klein, Congressman Duarte's office. Just want to give you all a quick update on a bill from last week. Last week, Congressman Duarte voted to fully fund programs for our Valley veterans. Congressman Duarte voted for fiscal year 2025 military construction, veteran affairs and related agency appropriation, House Resolution 8580. And what this bill does, it delivers over $337 billion for our veterans, which is a $30 billion increase from the previous year. Congressman Duarte is ensuring that our veterans' dedication to our great nation are recognized and they receive the best care and support they earned during their military service. And Congressman Duarte remains committed to reducing the deficit and ensuring the responsible spending of taxpayer dollars, but ensuring the Valley veterans, sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath. I was running up those stairs. The Valley veterans see more, not fewer benefits. And last week, Congressman Duarte did that to fully fund veterans' healthcare programs and benefits in the United States Department of Veteran Affairs program. Another item I wanted to touch on was our Service Academy Information Night. Mayor Graham, we want to thank you again for being one of the panelists on there. But we will be having June 17th, which is next Monday, at the Castle Air Museum in Atwater. We're going to be having our Service Academy Night, and this is a great opportunity for any high school students who are interested in the service academies, West Point Naval Academy, Air Force. It is required to have a nomination from either a congressman or woman, senator, vice president, or president to be able to be enrolled in these academies. Wanted to go ahead, if possible, and I can give them to the city clerk, the flyers. But if there's any students or high schoolers in the community that you guys would think would be interested in the Service Academy, please feel free to share this with them and have them reach out to myself or our office. And we'd love to give more information about our information night. Thank you all for your time.
Sir, appreciate
I'd
it.
just like to say, tell the, at your office that we really appreciate him backing the veterans.
Sure.
That's so important to us, in terms of the city of Newman, recognizing our veterans, the ones that are deceased and the ones that are still living, like our mayor. It's important that we recognize our
Yes,
veterans.
Congressman Duarte is in full support with you on that one.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
All right, good evening, City of Newman. Justin Farkas representing the Office of Assemblyman Alanis, bringing a rather robust report. I'll make it as short as I possibly can. However, the Assemblyman has been really fortunate this year to have a bill package that has represented the values and the needs of our constituents here in the Central Valley, but really across the board in the state of California. So as I've let you know, we introduced 26 pieces of legislation this year. Of those 26 pieces of legislation, 14 have passed in the Assembly and made their way over to the Senate, all of which were passed unanimously. Not a single no vote voted against those. You may have heard a former Assemblyman, now Vince Fong, was recently elected to Congress and former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy's seat. And with that happening, we've actually adopted one of his bills as one of our own, which is also passed over to the Senate as well. So putting us at 15 bills in total that we have over in the Senate. We are by that metric alone, the most successful legislator in California right now, which is really, really exciting news. We're focusing on really key issues here. We're talking about public safety, agriculture issues, affordability, and greater access to education opportunities, specifically through career technical education programs. So that's really what we've been working on. I did want to address some things you may have seen in the news lately regarding Prop 47 initiative that's happening and a debacle that is happening in the state assembly right now. The Speaker and the Senate President Pro Tem developed this legislative package to address retail theft. We did have a bill in that package, and we still do, but there is a little bit of taking hostage, I guess you could say, of that bill package. Effectively, the leaders of the Senate and Assembly are saying, should this Prop 47 ballot initiative pass in November, all of these bills within the bill package will be repealed. They're trying to add these amendments in. We have spoken out against these amendments. We actually received a promise from leadership, the Democrat leadership at least, that our bill would not be required to take up this amendment. So that's great to hear, but still there is some concern there. We understand that we do not, we oppose these amendments because we think there needs to be multiple courses of action to help address the retail theft issue that we're not just seeing in our local communities, but across California. So I just wanted to make that clear, and that's really it for my report. It's great to see Mayor Graham out at the Apricot Fiesta last weekend. Nice and hot and windy, but we made it work. A little smoky too, but I think we all made it work. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the Assemblyman's hard work. Welcome.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Noemí Ochoa Valencia y mi número de teléfono es 209-230-2932. Mi dirección es 1619 Blue Spring Way, no sé cómo se pronuncia.
1319 Blue Spring Way for address.
Yo solo vengo a pedir, si pueden, ¿verdad? Tengo una necesidad grande y quería pedirles permiso a ver si puedo poner unas yarditas en mi casa para poder ayudar a mi hija que tiene a mi nietita en Stanford.
She is here to petition to request more allowance for more yard sales at her location because she has a grandchild in need and has ran out of yard sale permit allowance for us.
Solo quería pedirles permiso porque ya ven que tiene uno tres veces al año permisos para las yarditas y ahorita me donaron cosas para poder venderlas y ayudarme para mi gasolina.
She is stating that Newman only allows 3 yard sales a year. She's petitioning for, ¿cuántos más quiere?
No sé.
Se renueva en julio. She's petitioning for 1 or 2 more yard sales before the end of our fiscal year as she has hit her limit and is attempting to raise money for her sick grandchild and for gas.
Can we have somebody reach out to her?
Council, I'll have to go back and look at our ordinance, and then I can work with Ally, and we can reach back out to this lady and give her what options are available.
Han dicho que el señor alcalde está haciendo trabajar conmigo y con usted y puedo yo hablarle a usted de mi información y decirle mañana o el día después qué es lo que podemos hacer.
Está bien, muchas gracias.
Thank you. All right. With that, we'll move to item number 8, consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the May 28, 2024 meeting. D, adopt resolution 2024 next number, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Newman declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing disposal.
I'll move that we accept the consent calendar for this period.
I'll second.
We have a first and second. Go and vote electronically. Motion carries 4-0. Item 9, public hearings. A, adopt Resolution 2024 next number, a resolution confirming the assessment and ordering the levy for the lighting and landscape maintenance district for fiscal year 24-25.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Welcome to the public hearing. We noticed this meeting twice in the newspaper prior, following the procedures that the state's laid out for us. So at this point, if we just need to hold a public hearing, take any comments, and then vote on to adopt the LOD resolution. This would provide funds for the 15 zones that are located within the city to take care of the maintenance of all of our landscape and lighting in those zones. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions? I'll open up to the public. Anybody wishing to comment? All right, not seeing any. Council for action.
Move to adopt resolution number 2024, resolution confirming the assessment and ordering the levy for the lighting and landscape maintenance district for fiscal year 24-25.
And I'll second that.
We have first and second. Go and vote. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Item 9B, first reading and introduction of ordinance 2024, next number, amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, Section 10.04.050, parking restrictions, enumerated, and 10.04.060, penalty. Sergeant,
Good
welcome.
evening, Mayor, City Council members. Before you tonight is an ordinance amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 10.04.050 and Section 10.04.060 to prohibit parking at any time along the west curb line of Hardin Road between Park Avenue and Angelina Drive, and establishing related fines associated with the violations. It is recommended the City Council conduct a public hearing and introduce by title and waive the first reading of ordinance number 2024, amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 10.04.050 and Section 10.04.060 to prohibit parking along the west curb line of Hardin Road between Park Avenue and Angelina Drive, and establishing related fines associated with the violations. I should have made that longer. So, as it says, currently parking is prohibited along the west curb line on Hardin Road, basically in front of the high school. It's prohibited between Monday and Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. I do have a picture. I'm sure you've all seen it already. That road is fairly narrow, so when you have parking on both sides of the roadway, it narrows it even further, and it makes it very difficult for cars. They pretty much have to idle through to get through safely when you have traffic going in both directions. You can see here, I also want to add a little bit, but this is parking along east and west curb lines, and you can see it gets pretty tight. I also do want to say that this isn't typical. This was taken during Orstem's graduation, so I don't want you to think that if you do pass this and prohibit parking along the west curb line that you're going to, I guess, displace all these other cars. I've been passing through there during work, and there's typically, I would say, probably averaging 2 to 3 cars parked along the west curb line. Even so, it still makes the roadway narrow. It makes it very hard for cars to safely get through, makes it hard for your pedestrians, makes it hard for us when we're trying to get to emergencies, if we're having to slow down because it's packed in there. All the housing is located on the east side of the roadway, and they have off-street parking. The apartments that are there, they have parking. They can park along the east curb line, so you're really not being intrusive to any of the residents in the area. Yeah, I think that's about it otherwise, though. So I'm happy to answer any questions or any concerns.
First of all, I'm guilty of that. That's a situation in reference to people having to pick up their kids. And some of the kids are special need kids to where I don't know what the answer would be, but to take that away from them, it's going to be, I guess, a bad situation for the families. I know it's a hazardous situation because, like I said, I'm guilty. Because when I have to, like pick my wife up or something, I park there.
So it's already prohibited on weekdays, on school days. So nobody can park there already. And the special needs kids are often picked up by a bus. They're allowed to be picked up right there. I think they can pull in now. It's the new parking lot is since I've been there. But I think the issue is because while school's open, they're able to enforce that, the school staff, correct? But during the weekends, that's where the problem comes in. And those folks on the weekends, they can legally park in the school parking lot, correct? Maybe not legally, but they're not going to get.
The school does not enforce it. You're correct.
Correct. So really the issue then is on the weekends, but also on school mornings and school, when school gets out, you still have people that will park illegally on that side. That really causes more of a hazard. Yeah.
You have a valid point, reference to that, and I don't have the answer and I don't know the answer, but I know that it's going to raise a situation, with people, picking up their kids.
But they're already prohibited doing that now. By adopting this, you're not changing the school time because it's already no parking from 7 to 4 during school hours anyway. So really by adopting this, you wouldn't be changing that at all because it's already illegal for them to do that. Some people do it, but what we're really trying to is we get back to the picture. If you go to football games, baseball games or anything like that, we start getting cars parked like this. We cannot get, that's a police car parked in the middle there that you're seeing, and imagine a fire truck trying to get through there in an emergency situation.
Right.
It's so narrow, and it's really, once they closed down the parking lot and the entrance off of Park Avenue, the school did, when they built their pool, it really forced people to try to park here. And it's becoming a concern for us and people in this community, in this neighborhood, because the people trying to walk across the street is now very, very dangerous to see both ways and one car coming. And if you get two cars coming, it's almost impossible to fit 2 lanes of traffic and the cars there.
And I noticed that, like on one side, especially on the side where the school is located, it's all red. But on the other side of the street,
Yeah, we're not changing that. The other side's, we're not even talking about the other side. We're just talking about where it's currently red. We're just trying to make that now no parking at all times instead of from 7 to 4 during the week.
valid point, very valid.
Has anyone talked with maybe the school
I
about
have.
popping?
I did, and
back?
they're very much in favor of this.
Yeah.
They were actually in favor of us doing the 7 to 4 back in, I think, 2011 when we did it, or 2012 when we adopted it. It was them pushing it, and they're very much on board of us doing this and doing it over the summertime so we can inform parents while kids are out, hey, come next year, and then we can get into some warnings and stuff if you guys do progress further with this.
And that's important, Chief, in terms of reaching out to the community.
Correct. And that's why we're trying to do it over the summer, so we gave them a little bit of grace period. And then once school starts, we'll still give a little bit of grace period before we really ramp up enforcement of, warning people and having somebody out there to tell them that they can't park. And then once we've established that for a couple months, then we'll start enforcing it.
Any other questions? It is a public hearing, so I'll open up the public for any questions or comments. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for action.
To accept first reading and introduction of ordinance number 2024, amending Title 10, Traffic Regulations, sections 10-04-050, parking restrictions enumerated, and 10-10.04.060, penalty.
A second.
Yeah, I just messed that up. We have a first and second. Let me redo that, sorry. Go and vote again. My bad, sorry, I apologize about that. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Sergeant. We appreciate that. Item 10, regular business. A, approval fiscal year 2024, 2025 annual budget as presented in the preliminary budget document. Item 1, adopt resolution number 2024, a resolution establishing fiscal year 2024 and 25 gain appropriations limit. And item number 2, adopt resolution 2024, next number, resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year 24-25. Lou?
Good evening. It's great to be back. Okay, so the two resolutions before us. The first one is the appropriations limit. What that is every year we take the prior appropriations limit and it gets adjusted based on factors that the State Department of Finance provides us. That limit is the maximum that a city can appropriate from taxes to use for the city's purposes. That limit is way beyond what we collect in a year from taxes. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions on that? No? So you handle this one first, correct? All right. So then we'll go back to item A1, adopt resolution, next number 2024, a resolution establishing the fiscal year gain appropriations limit. So action on that from the council?
I move we adopt fiscal year, one, right? Adopt resolution number 2024, resolution establishing fiscal year 2024, 2025 gain appropriations limit.
First,
I'll second that.
we have first and second, one vote. Motion carries 4-0. And then now item 2.
Okay, here we go. So the budget. The budget's been out for the city council and for the members of our public. It was available on our website since the beginning of the month.
Right.
So I won't go through all the details on it. We'll go through each of the important sections and hit the highlights for you. If you turn to page 5, pages 5, 6, and 7 are a quick summary of all of our funds activities. Revenues are listed at the top, and beneath that are the expenditures. And then beneath that are the transfers in and out. That's between the funds. And then at the bottom, we have the beginning balances, estimated beginning balances, and the estimated ending balance for each of the funds. There are 2 funds that we're estimating to have negative fund balances by the end of next fiscal year. The first is the county CDBG, and that typically has a negative balance because we expend the funds prior to receiving reimbursements. So it usually will go negative, and then as we get the reimbursements, it comes back to a 0 balance. The other one is our Measure L. It has currently a positive balance because we've been saving up money over the last few years, but we're planning on doing a $3.8 million street project, which will take us to negative, and then over the next few years, we'll do the same thing we did last time. We'll continue to collect funds over a few years until it builds back up again. It brings it back to a positive balance. You'll note on the general fund there, we're estimating an ending balance of $3.2 million. That's on the first column, the lower number, which is very healthy for our city based on the expenditures that we have each year. It'll be 55-60% reserve, which is very good. On page 6, the next to last column, a sewer, you'll notice that we'll have $11.1 million fund balance, which is excellent, keeping it very healthy. And then on the next page, page 7, our water fund. We're estimated to have a $791,000 ending fund balance. And then also, if you look at the column next to it, that's our water capital fund. That is money that comes in from developers to pay for infrastructure, and that'll have a $2.6 million ending fund balance. So again, we're doing pretty well on those. If we turn to page 10, these are all the individual revenues that come in for our general fund. There's quite a few of them. They come from property taxes, sales taxes, franchise fees, rental of parks, all sorts of things. If you look at the middle column, that's the amount that we estimate to have come in this year from general fund revenues. And then the last column is what we're estimating for next year. You can see it's about a 7% increase, which is good. As long as we continue to keep that trend up, will help us to stay ahead of inflation and other expenditure costs that will grow over time. And if we take a look at page 14, So this is the breakdown of each of the departments in the general fund. These include the city council, city clerk, government buildings, police, fire. And under each of those, we have, you can see the salary and benefits that are charged under each department, maintenance and operations, and capital outlays for that fiscal year. We're looking at a $7.6 million outflow. And if you remember from the previous revenue, we're looking at a $7 million inflow of revenues. We've typically, over the last several years, have had a negative budget to start off with, but we usually end up on a positive balance. The reason is that a lot of times all of the projects that we put in place, we don't get time to get to. So we're trying to keep our budget flexible, so whichever project we can get the best advantage on, best use of money, we'll spend on that. And then on our payroll costs, we usually are $100,000 to $150,000 over or under budget. We over budget on those because not everybody takes health care. So there's some savings there. And then also we usually have one or two personnel that we're hiring for, so there'll be an open spot for a few months for some savings. The pages after that are the detail under each of the departments where you'll see payroll costs, purchases of assets, expenditures for PG&E, other utilities. And so I won't go through the detail on each of those, but our general fund looks like it's continuing to be healthy. Next, if you turn to page 50, this is where our special revenue funds start. Special revenue funds have monies that come in for specific use. For example, gas taxes. We get gas tax money from the state, and that can only be used on streets and roads. So those funds we don't put in our general fund. We have to expend them or track them separately. So you can see through each of the projects there, two of the special funds that I should bring up are the state grants and federal grants. And if you notice on page 50, at the last column, we're looking at $9 million and $1.1 million in federal and state grant activities, which are fantastic. That's stuff that wouldn't have to come out of our general fund. And then lastly, Measure L, we're looking at that $3.8 million. Again, it's great funding that we've been saving up for, so we don't have to spend a lot of money on interest. That we get all of our money and it goes right towards the project. Okay, next would be on page 96. These are our two enterprise funds, water and sewer. Enterprise funds have to be self-sustaining. So the revenues that come in from the rates that we charge need to be sufficient to make sure that all the activities under each of those funds are taken care of. You can see we're looking at about $3 million under each of the funds for expenditures for the next year. That includes salary and benefits, maintenance operations, and capital outlay on a few items. And then lastly, the last group of funds that we have are our capital project funds. These are monies that come in from developers specifically for the construction of certain facilities that are in our capital improvement program. So if you'll notice under Fund 71, we have a $4.1 million under our sewer fund, which most of that is the Influent project, which is the replacement of the sewer lines from here out to the wastewater treatment facility plant. The details for each of the funds are broken down on each of the pages. If you have any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, can move to adopt the budget.
I was so in a rush to get here, man. I went off and left my book sitting on my desk. My question was going to ask you, how, when we do get these grants, how is that adjusted into our yearly budget?
We list how much money we're going to be getting and how expensive the projects are. If the project carries over from one year to the next, we have to do an estimate. So at the time I put the budget book together, it's about a month before the end of the fiscal year. So between the time I published the book and the time we actually present it and adopt it, we could have gotten more revenues have come in, which means less future revenues are available on the grant because we've collected some of it. And we could have incurred some more expenditures, so we won't have to expend as much in the future. But it's a guess once we get to that point. But we try and track how much revenue is still coming in and how much expenditures we're still going to have to put out. And then, again, the budget's a dynamic document, so it changes throughout the year. At mid-year, we'll come back and make adjustments to the budget. Also, during the year, when we have projects that come in, new grants that come in, those get added into it as well, and they're approved by the council.
So you had mentioned that after the fiscal year, sometimes we're over and above, where we have surpluses. So does any of those grant dollars add to that surplus?
No.
None.
So the grant monies that come in are specific for projects.
Or project, correct?
So for example, if we're given $1 million to build a park and the park only costs us $900,000 to build it, they'll only forward us $900,000 because we have to submit invoices to them for reimbursement for those items. They won't give us the extra $100,000 to spend on anything else.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right. Seeing no further questions, I'll bring it back to council for action.
I move we adopt resolution number 2024, resolution adopting the budget for fiscal year 24-25.
I'll second that.
We have a first and second. Go vote.
Good job, Lou.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Lou. Items from city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of housekeeping items. The Jensen Road project is out to bid this week. We have that tentatively scheduled for council to award that contract on July 23rd. And then we anticipate construction to begin right after the Fall Festival. We didn't want to jump in right before Fall Festival and close down the road, right? I mean, so why don't we just push it back a week and make sure we get through that weekend and then we'll get it started. So that project's moving forward. And then with the Measure L one, that's our big project next year. So we're just now starting to do the engineering, design and engineering work for that. We'll start with some surveying and get all that done. And that'll probably be bid around this time next year. And again, that'll be constructed in the fall. And that's a big project, as you recall. That's, L Street, L and M Street on the other side. 3.5 to 3.8, I think, is the current engineer's budget. That'll be the largest street project we've ever done in the city. So kudos to the city for continuing to do the big projects. The last big one we did was Measure L as well. We did Inyo, and if you haven't been down Inyo Canal School lately, I mean, that road looks great out there now. So we do have a planning commission meeting scheduled for next Thursday, the 20th, 7 p.m. in this room. And then just lastly, just wanted to wish a belated birthday to Mayor Graham. And then also, if he's not watching, today is former Mayor Bob Martinez's birthday. So happy birthday to Mayor Bob Martinez. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Michael.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just to report on my side, we do have our farmers markets kicking off this last Friday. We had about 48 vendors out there, lots of different foods, hobbies, crafts, just a whole bunch of different things. If you guys are available this Friday, we are out there from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m. We also have our first movie night of the year this Saturday. It will start at dusk. Snack bar opens 1 hour before time. We're watching the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles out there this weekend. So with that, I can answer any questions that y'all may have.
Any question? Thank you, Allie.
Thank you.
Chief?
I'm going to defer to Sergeant Williams. She has an announcement to make for you guys.
Sergeant?
Good evening again. Our Explorer program, we're holding a fundraiser through the end of the month for Little Caesars Pizza. And we also have a See's Candy fundraiser going right now. They're trying to raise funds to go to a competition in Stockton in September. So if you don't like pizza or See's Candy, then we take donations too. So anyway, that's all I have.
Thank
I
you.
don't have anything, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Lou?
I've talked enough tonight. I'm good.
Chief?
Just want to remind everyone the weather's heating up, so take care of yourselves. And then 4th of July is coming, so prepare now. Yeah. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Chief. Pro Tem?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Councilman McDonald?
Yes. City manager mentioned about the birthdays. This Saturday, I will be turning 76 years old. And
Birthday?
thank you. And actually, they're my daughters and son-in-law and all of them, they're putting together some kind of surprise for me. So
Surprise.
Nice, nice.
that's all I have.
You look great for that age.
Thank you.
Nothing.
All right, I have nothing tonight, so I'll ask for adjournment.
Adjourn.
First,
Second.
adjourn. Thank you, guys.